you could join us here in the chamber, but also at home online. Picked up a lot of people are starting to use that medium to participate in city government. So we thank you and we welcome you. Today is Tuesday, May 15th, 2018. It's approximately 6 o'clock. We do have a quorum. All city council members are present, and we're ready to do the business of our city government. With great pleasure, I've asked Councilor Belinda Ely, which is her last meeting this evening, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'll please stand and join her as she leads us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Just a few housekeeping details before we start with agenda item number 2 under presentations. If you'll please silence your cell phones. And then also we have a local rule. If you would like to participate and give any kind of input at any of the agenda items, that is your privilege and honor to do so. Just raise your hand, and just so I don't have to repeat it after every agenda item. But we'd love to have your input if you have an idea on a particular agenda item or a question. Thank you. All right, agenda item number 2, presentations. Number 1, consider and discuss and consider possible action on a resolution canvassing the returns and declaring the official results of the City of Leon Valley, Texas, May 5th, 2018 general election. We have our City Secretary, Sandra Postle, here this evening to present. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
Mayor, this agenda item has been updated as of this afternoon.
Very good, thank you.
Bexar County Elections Administrator did send an update with the mail-in ballots. So the packet has been updated, but it is different than what you received Friday or Thursday morning. Mm-hmm. This item is to canvass the vote of the May 5th City of Leon Valley general election. The canvass includes the official tabulation of the election results. It includes the tabulation of each candidate, total number of votes received by precinct. Records are preserved for 22 months in accordance with state law, and the summary of all votes have been sent to the Secretary of State. Oh, are you doing it? Canvass documents prepared by the Bexar County Elections Administrator were sent in with the final coming in at 4:39 on Friday. The late and mail ballots that came in were 3. So that is what changed this report in the beginning. For the position of mayor, we had Mariana Sanchez with a total of 405 votes. This is them by precinct. Chris Riley originally was 526, but with 3 mail-in ballots voting for, your total would be 529 votes. Council Place 2, Catherine Rodriguez, 467 originally, 468 after mail-in ballots were received. Also, oops. Sorry. Are you doing that?
There we go. Mm-hmm.
I think we're both clicking. Okay. Also for place 2, Byron Woodworth, originally 402 votes. After the mail-in ballots, 404. Mm-hmm. For place 4, Tom Garza received 121 votes before, and after the mail-in ballots, 122. Council place number 4, Oscar Valdez, 306. And lastly, council place number 4, Benny Martinez, 457 after the mail-in ballots. Social equity, the electoral process enables residents of the Leon Valley who are qualified voters to engage in the promotion and provision of superior quality of life through the determination of its elected leadership. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Ms. Postle on the canvassing of the votes? So our total vote count was?
I'm sorry, I don't have
Oh,
that information in
okay.
front of me. I did not.
Okay,
That's a new one.
I always like to figure out the percentage of the vote.
And
for
it's
the-
different per
yes.
precinct, so that would take a little calculation.
But
I can send it
we'll
to you.
have that update at the next meeting.
Yes, sir.
So did 10% of the eligible voters vote, or 15, that kind of thing? I think last year we had about 10% is what I'm recalling, but.
I believe it's 9.
9%, okay, very good. But we'll have that next year. Okay.
I'll add
Our
it.
next meeting. All right, so we need a motion and an order, motion and a second to receive these canvas returns.
A second.
We have a motion by Counselor Alcacer and a second by Counselor Jordan to accept the canvassing of the returns and declaring the official results of the City of Leon Valley May 5th general election. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Moving then to, I don't see our judge. Okay. So maybe we could move to agenda item number 3 and go ahead and recognize our counselor while we're waiting. Would that be all right? All right, let's do that. Judge Michael Mary, who is the district court judge for the 37th Judicial District in Bexar County, is going to swear the new council in, and he is coming from downtown, so I'm sure he's probably stuck on Bandera Road trying to get here. So let's move on then to agenda item number 2.3, recognition of Councilor Belinda Ely for her years of service to the City of Leon Valley. Ms. Ely was elected without opposition in 2016. And has served for 2 years on the council, and she's been passionate about health and veganism and earthwise living and beautification and all the passionate things that you are for. And we thank you for your service from the bottom of our heart. We have a beautiful clock that says Councilmember Belinda Ely with sincere appreciation, 2016 to 2018. Would y'all please give a round of appreciation? Oh, it's a happy day. It's a happy day. But I want you to say a few things. Okay? Good? Okay. All right, here you go. Oh, I wanted to show everybody. It's a beautiful, beautiful clock from the city to Belinda. And she's overwhelmed. My goodness. I said, this is a beautiful, beautiful, and we're so happy for you. And thank you so much for gracing our dais for the last 2 years.
Thank you.
All right. So if you'll like to say a few words.
Okay, yes, I'm a crier, sorry. Always happen.
Yes. Yes.
It's been my honor and pleasure to have served for the city and have been very blessed to have the support of the council and the staff, all the staff in all the departments. We are very blessed in this city. We have people who are passionate, who are involved, who are committed, who are giving of their all in all aspects. And to be fortunate enough to work with people like that, it's the best feeling because you know you're all driven to a common goal, that you care about your community that much to afford the best possible service, the best possible interaction amongst everyone. You can't ask for more. So, yes, I have had a wonderful experience while I've been serving on council. This is one of the best experiences of my life. And I know I'll have great memories. I'm not leaving here. I'm going to be here. I'll be around in other capacities. And hopefully in the future, there'll be more that I can do here as well. In the meantime, I'm moving on to other things, but I'm still going to be around and my voice will be heard. If I'm quiet, there's something wrong. So I'm sick or something. I'll always be around. But thank you so much for being who you are here in this community of Leon Valley. It's a special place. It truly is. So thank you, all the members of the staff, for all your help, support, and making my years here feel very welcoming and the best. Thank you again.
All right. Okay. All right. Then we will move then to presentation number 2.2. The Honorable Judge Michael Mary, 37th District Court, will administer the oath of office, and there will be a presentation of the Certificate of Election to Council Member-elect Catherine Rodriguez, Council Place 2, Council Member-elect Benny Martinez, Council Place 4, and Mayor Chris Riley. So if Councilor-elect Catherine Rodriguez, Mr. Martinez, and myself, if we'll go down, we'll ask Judge Mary, welcome. Let's give Judge Mary a round of applause. Hello, Your Honor. Did you get stuck in Bandera Road traffic? Okay, I knew it. Thank you. So, Your Honor, let's see. We have certificates, I believe, right here. What would you like to do, individually or all at one time?
Mayor, whatever pleases you, whatever's most efficient for you, tell me.
Oh, well, we could do it all together. Why not? Let's just do it all together. And we can. Then we get the reception.
Oh, well, that's great.
Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Very good.
So let's see. I guess,
You sit with our right hand.
would each of you raise your right hand, please? And after I say the word I, you repeat after me, but after I say I, state your name, and then repeat after me. Okay, thank you. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of, now one at a time,
Mayor.
City Council, Place 4.
City Council Place 2.
of the state of Texas. Well, you know, let me just say, Mayor and councilperson of the city of Leon Valley, Texas, of the state of Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and laws of the United States and of this state. So help me God. Congratulations. Have a beautiful place home. A nice home. Congratulations. Congratulations. You're so welcome. It's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Sorry, I
Oh,
was
no,
so
no,
late.
not at all.
So I
We
need
were able to.
sign yours.
We need to sign, yes, right over here. And as soon as we're finished here, we will take about a 15-minute recess, and we'd love for you to join us outside in the foyer for just a little cake and sandwich and coffee and water. So please join us, and then we'll reconvene at about 6:30, 6:35. Okay, thank you. Yes.
Hard to tell today. They look very young.
Is there a mother and father over there on the right? Or first row?
Don't raise too fast.
I'm emotional like you. It's understandable.
You already get that matrix.
Kind of like that.
Orneriness.
Oh no.
Thank you for all of the above. All those good things. But to the point,
Thank you. Thank you for your service to the community.
you've been inspiring to many people.
Yeah.
So keep it up.
Yeah, I'm sure you will. For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have to bring Catherine's chair up.
I wondered what all that noise was.
It's been a long time since that's no.
Let us know what you think. I'm sure you will.
But not too much.
All right, I'll go behind the scenes and tell you.
Temper your remarks.
Yeah, we'll try to temper this. Thank you all.
Thank you. Am I walking?
Get skinny, David.
I need to. I tried on one suit and I couldn't fit into it. I realized I hadn't worn it in like 30 years. This one fits better. I definitely need to drop a few pounds.
You have second thoughts about not running? Oh,
Well, despite my
okay, but-
poundage, I think I might have a little cake or something.
okay. I'm gonna count you. Okay. Yeah. 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 It's very sentimental, yeah. Thank you, Don. And well, get you something to eat. You're welcome. I don't think so with the, as far as the sandwiches are concerned though. You're gonna have to pick the meat off.
They're great. I couldn't wait to see you to tell you it's your fault that I'm going over things down with the pizza. I can't do that stuff. You know, I deal with emergency service, fire and events. See, I need their information. Well, what I'm, yeah.
God who's there, and I'm gonna work real hard in the morning just to get this work together. I can. That would be good for me.
Because me and you are gonna have the most information.
Right.
I think hopefully it'll be helpful.
Okay, well, I mean, I'll try to,
It's your call. I'm ready whenever you are. I
I'd
just
like
need
to
to
wait
be
till
on
Thursday. That way Joe can be here for a day and catch his one.
Well, let me delegate out what I need, and he knows what I need. We should follow up.
I've got water on the phone. Running around today. Crystal, I can't log her in. Log her in to service.
Catherine.
Yes. I had it Friday, it worked fine.
Joe, did they take place now? They take their places now? It's not like presidential election
What
where
do
they
you
have to
mean?
wait
Like, is
from
it not
November
turning
to
on?
January.
It's on. I just can't log her in. I don't know what her password is anymore.
Oh, maybe she changed her password.
I know, that's what I said. It worked Friday.
Hi, Blake.
How are you, madam?
I'm good. How are you, my dear?
For now, that's working.
You let it down, didn't you?
Actually, it was a different procedure. It's new.
I love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, how somebody that's only 32 years old can look even younger, by me.
Well charmed, I said, well,
But keep it up.
Is it a female? Yes.
No.
Okay. No, I was going to say because they call us on it. I figured.
Pictures of the, you said you had, you said, I know you said it's on the way. Yep. So I posted a message to you.
The only message I got was that you need to talk to me about
I think you ate one already.
Yeah,
I'm used to eating fast and getting on to the
when I
next
leave
one.
here.
you said that you'll go ahead and send in the supplemental.
No problem. I'll get it done.
And start eating. Go ahead and go upstairs and take your shower. I'll still be eating. When you come down, I'll still be eating. When you make your plate, I'll still be eating. When you sit down to eat, I'll still be eating. And when you finish, I'll still be eating. Oh my God. It was true. Really? Oh my God. They're too rich for me.
If I do one or two, I'm done. We're rich.
I only had to. Really? That's all it takes me to
Because
eat.
you're just that slow. Yeah.
I'm not. I knew that was going to happen.
Amazing.
But I need to do breakfast before I sit down. We offered it fall of last year. So I had to wait for all of this year. But that's why I told Chief, I said, I can get on. But what I'm doing this summer instead of not doing it, so those, what I'm doing this summer is all yeah, because it's full time. I would take a bachelor's, and I would pay my associates, and I would add of my for the bachelor's. So I'm almost finished with my 30 hours. I'm doing it right now. I'm doing it in 3-1.
My eyes are too long, like Trump's, is it? Just kidding.
Yeah, and that's what I said. Still got
You know, this right here is what's wrong with us. I just have my little roll sandwiches and I'm fine. I'm not one bit hungry. But because the cake is there, right? You just eat it.
I like cake,
Yeah, you just
unfortunately.
Who doesn't like cake?
We should be eating when we need to eat because our body needs to eat.
Yeah.
I'm not one bit hungry. In fact, I wouldn't even the cake is sitting there, so I'm going to eat it.
I went to this, my family doctor, an internal medicine doctor, and he said that Americans are kind of addicted to sugar.
Kind of.
Yeah. A doctor that I went to one time, we were talking about weight, and he said, just remember the old saying, now I'm going to forget it, but in the morning, eat like a king. At lunchtime, eat like a whatever. And in the evening, eat like a peasant.
Yeah.
And that's a very good way to control your weight. Consume all your calories in the morning, eat it.
My goal is to walk more. I think that's always helped me stay in better condition.
Walking, exercise, I get out and I work all weekend. I know it's my mood. You know.
Oh, yeah.
So,
It improves the mood in the house overall when we work so long. From the dog to us.
yeah, absolutely.
And we slack off every now and then. We try to keep it up. We slack off because of our work schedule.
Yeah.
But on the weekend, if we're both off, we try to get it done. Maybe 2 or 3 times a week.
What kind of a dog do you have?
And it's just a miniature kitten now.
How many is there?
Miniature.
Miniature.
He's a little terror.
You know, I told Rick,
He's a terrorist.
Yeah. We have one of our dogs is kind of little. It's a cockapoo, half cocker, half poodle, and kind of a small. The cockapoo was kind of small. So she only weighs 14 pounds.
Oh, okay.
She's kind of a
Yeah, he
kind of
only
an
weighs
alpha
10
dog.
pounds.
In the
Yes,
house.
And the rest of the dogs are boxers, and she's the alpha.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I believe that because I had a pit bull, a female pit bull, but Brownie, the poodle, was the alpha dog in the house. He bullied her to the point where she had to turn around and grab his hand in her mouth to make him leave her alone. But she didn't bite him, like she just
Yeah.
and then, but that didn't stop him.
That's the thing. That's what's wrong with us. I ate a little
Somebody told
sandwich.
us
And I was putting ice
like
cream
dog
in it.
expert.
And I was perfectly fine and I wasn't hungry. I got
We
through it and
rescued
I ate
another
these
boxer.
cakes
And
in
we
it.
were trying to figure out how to get him integrated into the clan or whatever, you know, the pack.
To the pack.
Yeah.
okay.
And he says that, I mean, as a breed, boxers tend to be the female person.
Homestead Under the Stars.
Tends to be an alpha in the clan. You know, the pack.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what we always say. Keep our family.
Well, Catherine is, she was telling me she's left-handed. And so it's better for her to be on the end, she said, so that's fine.
That's why it upsets me when they talk about bully breeds.
I thought we were going to have all three women in the middle, power thing. Nope. Mm-mm.
Whether you raise them or fight them.
Yeah.
Now, would that be a quorum?
No, because I don't count. Yes, that's right. That's right. Okay.
It's not the breed.
Well, we're coming back right on time. 6:17 p.m. Okay. Okay. At approximately 6:35 on Tuesday, May 15th, 2018. And our next agenda item is agenda item number 5, which is citizens to be heard. We have anybody that would like to address the council at this time? Please come forward. Yes. Thank you all for coming. Good evening, Kathy Hill, and we're so glad you're here.
Hi, thank
Hi.
you. Nice to see everyone and congratulations. My name is Kathy Hill. I live at 6326 Mary Jameson Street. And I'm just calling because this is the last city council meeting before our Pioneer Ice Cream Social on Saturday, May 26th. So I want to make sure and invite everyone to come out to the event at the Huebner Onion Homestead right across the street from City Hall. We've got a fun day of activities planned from 10 o'clock in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Fun stuff for families and children, kids activities, living history. We'll have quilters, we'll have spinners, we'll have racing pigeons. We're going to have blacksmiths out doing demonstrations. We've got Buffalo Soldiers and historic Texas Rangers and the folks from the Northside School Museum and much, much more. So it's going to be a lot of fun, lots of dancing, live entertainment, music, our own Leon Valley Ballet Folklorico, the Fire on the Mountain Cloggers, the Glad Hatters Dixieland Band, the Tennessee Valley Authority Bluegrass Band. It's going to be great. So it's free admission and one free ice cream for everyone. And then we'll have food trucks and other kinds of refreshments, and you can get a chance to see what's going on at the homestead and learn more about our history and our heritage in Leon Valley. And as I leave, I'll leave some flyers for everyone to make sure you get
And this is an official.
This is an official SA 300 event.
Yes,
so we
tricentennial.
Sent that application into San Antonio last year, about a year ago, and it's been in the works all these months.
Right, and there'll be tours to the grave site to see the new fence around it. It's beautiful.
So we are working on that. If you haven't been to the natural area, and there's been some construction going on, so that's, it's made it a little bit difficult, but we have restored the gravesite of Joseph Huebner, who was the original settler at the homestead. And so there's just, there's a lot to see and appreciate and enjoy, and we hope you all will come.
Kathy, would you also address the parking?
Yes.
That's important.
Okay, so we don't have parking. That is an issue for our homestead. But we have arranged with the Northside Learning Center, with Leon Valley Elementary School, and also with DPS to provide parking for everyone who wants to come. And then we've arranged shuttle service. So we'll be making the rounds, and so you can drop off your car, at the school and just hop on the shuttle bus and ride it around to the homestead, and you don't have to worry about parking or walking very far.
Right. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Councilor Martinez.
What about parking at Seneca Plaza?
I might avoid that.
It's private property.
It's private property, and we're not sure how that can go or not go. I mean, I would say that's sort of because I would just say we have official parking at the Northside Learning Center and the Leon Valley Elementary School and DPS. And I would say park there.
Right. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Any other questions? Thank you. We hope to see you there. I hope we get a lot of.
Thank you all very much.
There. Thank you.
Yes.
Looking forward to
and
it.
The City Council is all invited to come and be part of our first lick ceremony. So we're doing the first lick of ice cream, and that's at 10:30.
Okay.
So we'll see you all there. Okay.
Great. Thank you. All right. Anyone else like to address the council at this time? Please come forward. Yes. Good evening and welcome. If you'll please state your name and where you live, we greatly appreciate it. Hi.
Good evening.
Yes.
My name is Rosie Padilla, and I live here at Rue Lillian Street.
Okay.
And I'm here because I'd like to address some concerns that I have, and I don't know if actually this is the right time to bring this forward. I have addressed these concerns before to Code and Compliance, and I'm still not able to get the answers that I want. My question is, are we allowed here in Leon Valley to have vehicles that are inoperable parked in our backyards? And I'm talking about, I have neighbors, or actually one neighbor in particular, that has up to 8 cars parked. They have been inoperable for the past 2 years. And when I've addressed the concern, I've been told that unless they can be seen, can anything be done? Now, they have a privacy fence. However, there are a lot of things like rodents and everything that has accumulated back there. And I don't know what exactly can be done because it seems like nothing every time, and not only me, but several of the neighbors have called and they have complained because at one time they had like a big Winnebago parked in the driveway and it was taking up all the space. So all their other vehicles that were operable were in the street, and my neighbors have called the police. They've come and tell them, move your vehicles because these people were really crowded because it's a cul-de-sac. And I don't know what else can be done, but if this is the case that we can have all these type of vehicles and that unless that it can be seen that they can't do anything about it. Is this something that has been going on for years?
Okay. Let me ask the city manager, and do you have the address that this is located at?
Yes, I do
so that
have
we
the
can
address.
turn that in to on it.
And everything is documented from I think it's been going on for about 1.5 years.
Very good.
Everything is documented.
What's the address again?
Yes.
The address, please.
My address is, their address, 6,000 Rue Lillian.
6,000.
Okay.
Okay.
Ms. Padilla, if I could, I'm going to direct your attention to Mr. Morgan right back there.
Yes.
He's going to be able to tell you what we have in the system on it and see if he can give you further guidance.
Okay, and I do also have pictures of everything that I'm able to, that I was able to get, if you need them.
Okay.
But I will talk
He's
to
right
Mr.
back
Morgan.
there. We just called him so he could speak with you.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and appreciate you bringing your concern to the council. All righty. Anyone else like to address the council? Please come forward. All right. Seeing no one else, then we'll move to agenda item number 6, additional presentations. Number 1, presentation of the Library Board of Trustees annual report. We have Heather Haskin, Library Board of Trustees Vice Chair, here this evening to present. Heather, good evening and welcome. We're glad you're here. Thank you.
Thank you. It's good to be here. And as Mayor Riley stated, I'm Heather Haskin, the Vice Chair of the Board of Trustees at the library. For those who are new to the council especially, we wanted to provide this introduction. The Board of Trustees at the library serves in an advisory capacity to the library. We have 7 members and 2 alternates, and we recently updated our terms to be alternating 2 years so that the entire board would not turn over at the same time. And then we meet each second Tuesday of each month at 5:30. Except for our 2 months that we take a break, July and December. Who do I tell next slide? Okay. So we would just like to tonight review our activities of the last year and talk about the things that we're currently working on. So over the past year, the board has worked with the library on some policy manual updates, including fee schedules, patron conduct, circulation, and internet policies. We also updated our own Board of Trustees bylaws, which included things like which officers we have and how we determine a majority in our meetings. The board works with the library employees to host a volunteer appreciation event each April, and that's for our library volunteers, of which we have about 50 who provided over 1,200 hours over the last year, which is incredible.
Fabulous.
Some wonderful accomplishments of the last year, thanks to Sandy and Teresa, who wrote grants. We received several. I will give you a moment to kind of look at those, but I wanted to highlight a few. The first one from the Talker Foundation, that $5,000, that collection development was specifically for juvenile nonfiction. So we were able to purchase almost 300 beautiful, heavy hardcover nonfiction books and kind of replace some of the outdated information that we had, especially in nonfiction. You need up to date, right?
Right.
And then another one I wanted to highlight was the volunteer match membership grant. We received a 2-year membership to a volunteer match, which has helped us find several long-term wonderful volunteers who do shelving and help at our story times and all the things like that. So just a lot to be happy about as far as grants go over the last year.
Very good.
The library received the Excellence in Library Service Award from the Texas Municipal Library Directors Association. This says 2016. We meant to highlight 2017, but in actuality, the library has received that award now for 6 consecutive years, which is wonderful. One of the biggest things that happened that began in 2017 was our Makerspace events. We kicked off our very first one during spring break of 2017 and had really excellent attendance at those. If you haven't attended one, they're wonderful. The children's wing and the meeting room are just completely full of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics activities, robots, 3D printing, anything you can imagine. And that has been wonderful. And some of our trustees trained to be able to help at our very first one. And there have been several held since. They're a wonderful event to have at the library and loved by children of all ages. Some things that we're currently working on that we've been talking about in our meetings is the outdated internet and wiring in the library. The children's wing actually doesn't have any internet at all, so the programs that we do there, we can't hook our devices up to the internet to work on those, and the wiring in the entire library is very old and outdated. So that's something that we're hoping to move forward with, and that the library director will be presenting on later tonight.
Good.
And then that very last bullet that I was just going to mention is that as Sandy and I met to discuss this, we looked at the strategic plan that the trustee board helped craft in 2016, and progress had been made on every goal and objective in that in these 2 years. It was supposed to be a 4-year plan, and we've been making progress on all of them, so that's exciting.
Very good.
Are there any questions?
Yes, I was just curious, are we still partnering with the county on bibliotech? That
I know the
we have, don't we?
Did come out and train us, and we refer memberships to them, and they're free.
It's a virtual, right?
They do training for us, and we're still hoping we're going to get, hopefully once we have some internet maybe in the kids area, the ability, if they'd like to come out and do computer 101, so basically.
Okay. All right, so we do have that relationship established. Great. Okay. Anything else? I know one of the major accomplishments is the 7-day-a-week opening, and
Yes,
which I think is fabulous.
2 part-time employees.
Yes, and
to
2
make that
part-time
possible.
employees. That's
so
right.
even with Evers Road closure, we're still seeing people use the library on Sundays and Mondays, and we expect that to go up even more once the road is open again.
Right. And I can't say enough. I always say it every time I've got the library. I love the children's hour because I love to take my granddaughter, and she absolutely loves the library. And so we thank you for that outreach for our children because it's very well attended as well. So, all right. Anyone else? Questions, comments to Heather? All right. Well, thank you so much, and appreciate your service on the board as well. All right. Moving then to presentation number 6.2, presentation and oath of office taken by Texas State Peace Officer, Leon Valley Fire Department Deputy Fire Marshal Eric Burnside, and myself and Chief Valdez. Should we move down, or
Absolutely,
should I? Okay,
Mayor.
there we go. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to swear in our peace officer before the council. As you know, the fire marshal's office is kind of a unique position Eric is my deputy, and he is a peace officer. He's a paramedic. He's a firefighter. That makes things a little interesting. He's very versatile. He just recently passed police academy, and so we took away his wooden gun and gave him a real one. He really did that, by the way. He really did that. But we're very, very proud of him. He's a great addition to the team. Exactly more than what we expected when he got into the position. And and just so you know, he's also seeking his master's degree right now with the University of Texas. So very excited. More to come from him, but it's in public affairs. Yes. And when our peace officers, we thought it right and proper to have him sworn in properly, and so that's what he's here for. Right up front, sir.
Not very often.
Okay. I said, when do you sleep? Okay. So if you'll please raise your right hand and repeat after me, and I, your name,
I, Eric Burnside,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office
of Deputy Fire Marshal
of Deputy Fire Marshal
of the City of Leon Valley,
of the City of Leon Valley,
State of Texas,
State of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and the laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state,
and the ordinances of this city,
and the ordinances of this city,
and I furthermore solemnly swear
and I furthermore solemnly swear
that I have not directly
and I have not directly
or indirectly paid,
or indirectly paid,
offered or promised to pay,
offered or promised to pay,
contributed,
nor
promised to contribute
any
money or valuable thing, or promised any public office or employment to secure my appointment.
to secure my appointment.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Thank you. Let's give Deputy Fire Marshal Eric Burnside a round of applause. Now, I was just noticing how many fire marshals or you have a lot more, you have 4 fire personnel that are also peace officers, which is, growing, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Would you like to say anything? Are you back in your house yet?
I am back in my house. Thank you for
Okay,
asking.
yes, I'm so happy. Do y'all know that, Fire Deputy Marshal and his family unfortunately had a fire not too long ago. I guess it was last year, and you've been displaced, and I'm so happy that you're back. We're all so happy that you're back. So thank you.
One good thing did come out of it, though. So just so you guys know, it's not very often that a fire marshal has a house fire. So, yeah, I know. Trust me, I've heard it all from everybody. And also having the last name of Burnside, that really threw everything for a loop. But one good thing that does add, especially for this community, is now I've experienced that. So whenever a house fire or a structure fire happens in this community, I know exactly how to deal with it now because I've dealt with it for firsthand experience.
And this is your beautiful.
Yes, this is my wife.
Thank you. Nice to meet you. So happy you're here. All righty.
All right. Yes. No, ma'am.
Thank you. We look forward to your continued service and look forward to working with you.
Okay.
Yes, we'll have to sign. Yeah, here we go. So if you'll sign here. And then I sign. And then you stamp it. Right. Okay, we're done. Here we go. All right. Agenda item number 6.3, presentation of a proclamation to the Lupus Foundation proclaiming May 18th, 2018, Put on Your Purple Day. And we have Angelica Garza of the Lupus Foundation Lone Star chapter here to present. Do we have a proclamation? Yes. Welcome. So glad to see you again. Yes, you bet. Really appreciate it. Let me read this proclamation, and then I'd love to hear from you on this proclamation. Whereas an estimated 1.5 million Americans suffer from lupus, the chronic inflammatory autoimmune disease that can affect various parts of the body, especially the skin, joints, blood, and kidneys. And whereas lupus can be difficult to diagnose because its symptoms are similar to those of many other illnesses, and major gaps exist in understanding the causes and the consequences. And whereas the Lupus Foundation of America, Lone Star Chapter, is part of a national force devoted to solving the cruel mystery of lupus while providing caring support to those who suffer from its brutal impact. And whereas the chapter rallied the Leon Valley community to wear the color purple and to further unify the support of those living with the disease. And whereas awareness is vital in raising funds for research for those affected by lupus, and it is our responsibility as a community to advocate on their behalf and to further encourage educational programs so everyone affected by lupus can have an improved quality of life. Now, therefore, I, Chris Riley, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Leon Valley, Texas, do hereby proclaim May 18, 2018 as Put on Purple Day throughout the city of Leon Valley, and I urge all citizens to support the cause of raising awareness of lupus so that we can have a world with no lupus. Signed by my hand this 15th day of May 2018, Mayor Chris Riley. Let's give and show our appreciation to Ms. Garza on this proclamation day. Thank you.
Sure. Lupus is a chronic autoimmune disease, like the mayor just mentioned, but what that means essentially is this is a disease that when found in primarily women, 9 out of 10 people that have lupus, your body is essentially attacking itself, essentially fighting off an infection, whether the infection is there or not, which potentially can affect other internal organs and any system in the body. Women of color are disproportionately affected by lupus. Your African American, Hispanic communities have a higher diagnosis rate, and you're 2 to 3 more times likely to develop lupus in your lifetime if you are a woman of color. And so we as an organization really appreciate the support of the Leon Valley community in support of Put on Purple Day and Lupus Awareness Month, which is all of May. And what we want to do is make sure that the community knows that we as an organization or as an organization are a resource to those who are affected by lupus. And when we say affected, it's not just patients, it's their families, caregivers, support system, friends, family members, things like that. So reach out to us by visiting lupuslonestar.org. And on Friday, May 18th, which is now proclaimed Put on Purple Day, please wear purple, any shade of purple. We'd be happy to have you guys share those photos on social media with the hashtags Put on Purple and Lupus Lone Star. We're very appreciative of all the support. Thank you.
Really appreciate it. And good luck. Yes. All righty. I am, aren't I? Yeah. Okay. Agenda item number 6.4. Our monthly financial report. We have our Chief Financial Officer, Vicki Wallace, here this evening to present. Where is our money going to?
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
I do this every time. This is the monthly financial report for the month of April, and I'm going to go over this just really quickly, and because I want Dr. Rodriguez also. But general fund is like the major fund of all cities. It's where all of your governmental type activities, your police, your fire, public works, library, all of that is funded out of the general fund. Then the next fund I'm going to go over will be the enterprise fund, which will be the water and sewer fund. It is our second largest fund, and that particular fund is ideally supposed to be supported, and it is through user fees. And then I'm going to go over a few of the other just small impound lots, which I'm going to pull. They're actually in the general fund, but I'm going to pull them out and just report them out separately. As you can see, ad valorem taxes, you know, that number includes our delinquent and our interest. So with June, you're going to see, because the people that elect to have a split payment, they're going to come in, and that's where we're going to see the surge. We're like 24,000 off from meeting what we had budgeted of 3.9. We're going to hit that because June, we'll see a whole bunch come in, very end of June, beginning of July, when the people that elected that split payment is going to come in. Our sales tax is doing very well. For the month of April, we're at 2.56% above what we were at the same time last year.
Very good.
The license, permits, fines, and fees, that's a biggie. That's where your red light camera revenue is and your impound lot fees. So as of April, for our red light camera, we brought in $166,725, and I'm going to show you that when we get to it a little bit further. Impound lot was $87,000, and then we had auctions that amounted to $7,200. So that's why you see that type of an increase in license, permits, fines, and fees. That's what it is. The other biggie thing that kind of sticks out if you're looking at it, and when you look at the miscellaneous revenue, it's kind of catching up now, but one of the big things, again, was the Barry Williams, when he paid for the light. That's what that happened. None of the expenditures sort of stick out. The only thing is business office and the fire department. They're just a little bit over, but they know about it and they know what it is. The one thing that kind of sends the fire department off a little bit and looks like it is because they bought a fire truck, and so the system looks at that and says, oh, 100%. And so that's why they look like they're everybody knows about it, and I don't see any issues with that whatsoever. Any questions? General fund?
Okay, so we're pretty much on track for where we're supposed to be, and how we're about a little bit over halfway through the budget cycle.
Yeah.
Okay.
March was the 6-month mark, so now we're 7 months into it.
Okay. Excellent.
And so this is the water and sewer fund, and now you can see, remember we were talking about, we were worried about the revenue for the water sales. It's kind of sort of catching up to what it was last year. Of course, we've had a lot of rain, and if it rains, people aren't going to use it. And the other thing is, if you have your rates, you know, people, and we preach conservation, so that's going to happen. But I don't really see, when we get to the real summer months, that's when I start to worry, oh, we're going to hit that revenue mark? We're not going to hit that revenue mark. Because I expect it to be a little bit lower right now. Then if we're doing conservation, it is going to be lower. The miscellaneous revenue, again, the one reason why you see that is that we've got that CDBG grant for Timber Hill and Conestoga. So that's why that's increased.
Okay.
And if you look at their expenditures, the only thing sticks out as stormwater, but they know what that is, and there's not a problem. But everything else is tracking like it should. Any questions about water and sewer?
Any questions on them?
Community Center Fund, this particular one, I really want to talk about the hotel tax. What happened was, for the quarter that ended in March, they have till the end of April to pay their hotel tax. Well, the big ones didn't come in until like the last minute, so they close out at 3 o'clock, so then it actually happened in May, so that's why you're not seeing it reflected here. However, the good part about it is, if you look at, for the quarter that ended in March, hotel tax is at $44,000, so we're actually above.
Oh, wow.
So
okay.
that's, I'm
so
feeling
from
better
30 to
about
44?
That. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm feeling much better about that. When we look at it, it's like, okay, it's tracking, it's above, it's okay. Revenue for the conference center, it's just down.
Do you think it's the bridge closing? Is that a factor? Excuse me.
I don't know. It's hard to say.
Oh.
Whether that's it or just people aren't just using the facility.
Because we've got such a beautiful facility.
And the reason why I say that is, if you look at the revenue for the community center, it's down a little bit, but it's not down that much. So if it was totally, if you could attribute to that, I would say, okay, both of them would be down equally.
But it looks like we're not going to make our goal then.
No.
Correct. Right, this year.
We are not. Hotel tax, yeah.
Can
we're
I,
gonna be
can
fine
I
there.
ask what kind of outreach we have in the community and conference center rentals?
Sure, Mayor, Council, so right now she does the yellow pages and the white pages. She does the San Antonio weddings, and then she's developing her own website. It appears, though, when we track where people got the information from, it seems that it's more word of mouth, oh, I use the center for that, because we do track that. But those are her primary means of outreach right there.
Okay.
And I think at this point, when you look at the referrals, I don't think we're doing the taxpayer a big favor by continuing to advertise in San Antonio weddings, because we're not getting business from there, and that's expensive. So we're going to talk about that during the budget and see what the council wants to do with that.
All right, very good. Thank you. Yes, Councilor Jordan.
Do we have the internet up and running now in the community center?
Yes.
Yes, we do.
We do?
We do. Right, Melinda? Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And then I'd like to add, she did start her own Facebook page for the conference center,
Yes,
for the
she did.
community and conference center as well. And so we're starting to increase subscribers there. So we're hoping that that word of mouth continues to travel on social media as well.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. All right.
We've also, as you know, had to give a few refunds back, which does not help the revenues at all because of the broken air conditioners and some issues with the kitchen. But we've acted. We're getting the air conditioners replaced. The second one is it completely installed yet, Melinda? The second air conditioner? I know the first one was finished, but it needed two, the community center. They're working on it. It's either finished or it's close to finished.
Okay. Thank you.
So then this here is actually part of the general fund. It's the ED, but I pull it out so you guys can look at it separately. And for sales tax revenue, we're always 2 months behind because the sales tax we get in October is for August. The sales tax we get in November, so it's September, so we accrue it back. So technically this started in December to where we actually started getting revenue. So we're at 117,530, and this is strictly the ED, and we have expenditures of 48,979. It's part of the project funding. That's something that you've asked, Mayor. Is the only new thing that we've added is the 4th of July at 32.5. They made a contribution to that.
Okay. All right.
And then red light cameras, this is as of April, and I break it down based upon what our web payments, lockbox, walk-ins is somebody that actually walks into us and gives us the money. And then late fees. We don't have any late fees yet, but we had 156,575 for web payments. The lockbox, which is at a bank, 54,376. Walk-ins that we collected actually here was 23,500. Personnel, you can see in Tier 1. Tier 1 is the one to where most of your administrative costs are, and that's the one where we have to look at and compare the revenue, and whatever's left over of that, that's where the state gets 50%. So that's where we have then the Tier 2, which comes out of the remainder of whatever we get to keep, and that's what we use for traffic safety. So we've spent 481 for Tier 1. And then for Tier 2, year-to-date, we spent 62,944 for a total of 204,425.
Is that a correct number, that 571 on contractual? Is that correct? On the cameras are 4,500.
Yes, because we have not paid them anything yet.
Oh, we haven't paid them anything yet. Do we just make an annual payment to them, or?
It'll be monthly, but we
It'll be
haven't been
monthly.
anything
Okay,
yet.
that's what I thought
Yeah,
it's
no,
got to
no,
be more
we
than
will.
571.
That'll start kicking in, yeah.
Okay. So what is that monthly payment going to be? Do you know? Is it?
I think it's 5,400.
5,400?
Yeah, somewhere in that area, yeah.
Per
I've not
per
seen
camera.
one yet.
Per camera.
Per camera.
Yeah.
Haven't
Times
seen
10.
one yet, yeah.
Times
That's
10,
12.
right?
No, 12.
12.
12. Okay. Went up on us. Okay. Okay.
And then impound lot, which is also in the general fund, but we just pull it out so you can see it separately. For impounds, they've collected year-to-date 87,000. Auctions, they just had another auction, so their year-to-date is 72,190, and their expenditures are at 81,000.
Okay, and then the net between the two goes into the general fund that's not dedicated for.
Correct.
Is that correct? It's just a general fund, so that
Right.
that's a
It
revenue
would
source.
basically hit at year-end. If they didn't spend it, yes, it would hit your fund balance, and it would increase your fund balance.
Okay.
That's correct. And that's it. Any questions?
Okay. Any questions for
What I also
Vicki
want to point
Wallace?
out, if you go to this slideshow online, if you click on the blue, it'll take you straight to our financial transparency page. It'll give you all of our CAFRs, all of our budgets, all of our financial reports, and everything.
Okay, very good. And we have a question from Ms. Joseph. If there's any questions, just raise your hand, and we'll certainly recognize you at any of the agenda items. Good evening, Ms. Joseph.
Hi.
Welcome.
Lynn, thank you.
Yes.
Mayor, council members. Lynn Joseph, 6423 Trotter Lane. I just had a question. It was on the first slide of tapping something.
Tapping fees?
Yeah.
It's what water and sewer charges when they have to tap and do a meter.
Okay. I was like, what?
Yeah.
And then on the convention or the park rentals, I've had a few of my neighbors mention that they thought the fees had gone up too much. That could be one reason why it's down a little bit. So.
Well, that's different. Yeah.
Well, and it's also
Did the community center fees go up? I know the park, all of those rentals went up. Yeah, we did, but I didn't know about the conference or community center.
Well, anyway, I had a couple of people that had mentioned it, like they were using it this summer. Okay, thank you.
Well, there just must be a lot of competition for, those types of venues. Yeah. So, yes, sir. Councilor Martinez.
I have one question in reference to the red light cameras on Tier 2. How much do we have to split with the state?
50%, whatever's left over. In other words, if we get $2 million in revenue and we have $1 million worth of expenditures, that is in Tier 1, then half of that goes to the state, and the other half is what we use for our traffic safety program.
Thank you.
And then how do you track that? Because I'm understanding that the revenue from Tier 2 has been able to hire 2 additional traffic police officers. So how do you track that?
Okay, so what I do is I have a spreadsheet, and I go in every single month, and I actually pull down from ATS a revenue by type report. And in there, it gives me, not necessarily we've got it because we're like a week behind. So they close out on Friday, wire the money on Monday, and we receive it at the bank on Tuesday. But for auditing purposes, I need to look at the whole month because when I come to the year end, I'm going to have to accrue that back. So I plug in that number, then I go and get the financial report for whatever we have for expenditures, and I plug that in, and that tells me where we kind of stand, with what the revenue is versus what the expenditures are. And then at year end, we have to file a report with the state. I think it's by the end of October. And we basically have to report all of our expenditures and all of our revenue. They don't get the late fees. We get to keep all of that.
Okay. But is it shown on our spreadsheet
No,
here?
it's
No?
a huge, very
So we don't see
No.
where that money is being spent at?
Well, yeah, you do.
Well, I mean, yeah. Can you? I just wanted to see where would we look for the police officers?
Oh, for the police officers,
Yeah,
personnel cost. In other words, in other
Okay.
words,
Very good. Let me see.
let me go back here.
Personnel.
So in other words,
There we
tier
go.
1 is the
58,876.
administrative,
Great.
there's
Thank
personnel,
you.
And that's the
Okay.
administrative side of the red light cameras. And then in tier 2, that's where your personnel, that's where your traffic safety program is.
Right. Tier 1 is the personnel that are
The admin-
chief, that are, they have to administer the program, but the personnel in tiers are those additional police officers. Great. That's all I wanted to know. Thank you. I got it. All right. Wonderful. All right. You're always, nope. Anything else? All right. Great. I think we're done. All right. Moving then to agenda item 6.5, presentation of new Firewise signs and plaque from the Texas A&M Forest Service and National Fire Protection Association, recognizing the City of Leon Valley for 5 years of Firewise USA status. And we have Leon Valley Chief Luis Valdez, Leon Valley Fire Department Deputy Fire Marshal Eric Burnside, and we also have Mark Crozy from the Forest Service and
Jake Goschalk.
Jake Doschak.
I got it.
There
Yes.
you go.
Yes.
Yes, very good.
Mayor, Council, thank you. 5 years since we've been
Oh.
a Firewise community.
I think that's awesome.
Thank you very much. The Firewise Communities USA status is a recognized program from the National Fire Protection Association. It recognizes those communities out there that are meeting best practices in urban wildland interface management. We do that by creating a community wildfire protection plan, have training. We actually have mitigation projects Of course, we're all familiar with the shaded fuel break in the natural area just across the street. Just last week, our firefighters went over there and trimmed it up and maintained it. Got all the low and dead limbs out away from the fence line to protect, to reduce the risk of a wildfire, either traveling from the natural area to the homes or from a house fire affecting the natural area, and that's what part of this status is about. So it is a lot of work. There's not a whole lot of communities out there that have the entire city as a Firewise city. Most of the time, it's just a neighborhood, and for us, it's pretty awesome. We do have to do some other work. Of course, you'll see it as the Earthwise Living Day, sharing the information about being a Firewise community, and the Texas Forest Service is here to give us our new signs, which you'll see on display hopefully very soon. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there? Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you. And Chief, where will those be? Will those as you come into the city?
Yes. So
right.
We're going to have one probably in front of City Hall, and then another one we haven't quite decided yet. We want to make sure everybody sees it.
Excellent.
So we'll pick a good location.
Very good. Thank you.
And then we got another plaque. I'm the only one talking.
You're doing great.
So we'll add this to our collection. And can we take a picture?
Yeah. Let them go. Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Lot to be proud of. Thank you all. Have a good evening, and we'll look forward to seeing those signs on the streets. Next, agenda item number 7, we have the city manager's report. Ms. Kinsler, good evening and welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council. Just a couple of questions. First of all, I'd like to know if it is the consensus of the group to cancel the July 3rd meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay.
Well,
I know that's what typically you do. I
day.
just wanted to get your feedback and your input. Speaking of July, we still need to determine a grand marshal for the 4th of July parade. Wanted to throw out 2 names that staff members have come up with, and that maybe you have some of your own. One was Henry Hank Daughtry. He is the owner of Leon Valley Storage. In visiting with him the other day, he thinks that Leon Valley Storage may be older than Intertech, because he talked about the different name changes of Intertech. But nonetheless, they've been a strong supporter of the 4th of July. He's working on the 3rd phase of his business, and this was something that's special to the staff about Mr. Daughtry is he wants to beautify Leon Valley, and he's got that one area there of the storage where you can still see those cars. So he's about to invest $50,000 in a huge, nice-looking fence with some landscaping, so that it finishes off that area, so that it looks nice there on Grissom Road. His father also was a former Leon Valley mayor from 1959 to 1963, and I know last time we honored the former Leon Valley mayors. Another one that was brought up was Mr. Pedro Esquivel. He is a Leon Valley resident. He's sick, but doing a little better, but had no idea until sometime this year when Mayor Riley and I found out, and then now I began to learn a lot more, but he was one of the 3 founding members of the EEOC, and was appointed by President Johnson. That's what I think too. I think that's what he told us, Johnson. And so those were the 2 names that we thought of, and just need to try to get this sewn up so that we can, properly invite the person. So I don't know if you all had any ideas.
Have any other ideas? I think those are 2 good suggestions. Can we have them both?
That's
mean,
your
yeah,
call.
just-
I'm sure Ann Sarah would be happy to give us 2 cars and lend us 2 cars, I guess.
I'd like to recommend Mr. Escovel, Pedro Escovel, if he's able and willing.
Okay.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Daughtry.
Okay, just since this is a city manager's report,
Right.
just trying to get some feedback, just kind of trying to figure out where you all are heading. But if I see a lot of shaking heads for both of the individuals, and so, as long as there's not opposition, I'll just contact both of them.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you all. Oh, I'm not finished. Sorry. I was going to talk about sales taxes, but Vicki covered that. We continue to see that upward trend. They were up 2.61% in April and 2.56% in March. But if anybody has any questions about why or what's going on there, I think we have some answers. Motor vehicle citations are flooding into our municipal court right now because of Tier 2 traffic officers that you just talked about. In fact, Ms. Caldera just approached me earlier today and asked me if our part-timer, if at least for a couple of weeks, we could move her to full-time so they can catch up on their tickets in there. So there's lots of moving violations going on out there. And I know those of you, especially that walked this spring, you heard that complaint from residents. So I'm hoping that you're going to hear now from residents that they're seeing a lot of flashing lights because they are coming in. And the other problem is I don't know what it's called, but the computer that prints out the tickets, the officers are having to hand write the tickets right now. So the clerks are having to retype them. And so that'll be fixed soon. But we're going to need to, we're getting backlogged in there right now because of it.
Did the automatic machine break or something? 'Cause
What happened
The
to the
ticket
handheld?
writers, they needed updates, and they were just on back order, and so they've been on back order for 3 months. We just got them in yesterday, and so they just have 3 months of manual tickets. They're not all 3 months, but they have to go in and input manual tickets, but they're in. We're waiting for whatever reason, they forgot to send the chargers with the ticket writers, so we're waiting for the chargers to come in with the ticket writers.
An optional extra.
Really? So anyway, that's thanks to our Tier 2 traffic officers. So I wanted you to see that it's working. Next regular city council meeting, June 5th at 6 o'clock p.m. right here. The joint primary runoff election, early voting is May 14th through 18th, and election day for that is May 22nd. The Historical Society, as Ms. Hill announced, will have their ice cream social, Pioneer Ice Cream Social, Saturday, May 26th from 10 to 3. At the grounds of the Hebner Onion Homestead. City offices are closed Monday, May 28th in observance of Memorial Day. There's a library summer reading program kickoff Saturday, June 9th at 10:30 in the morning. Committee meetings for May, we've got 3 left. We've got Police Advisory. We'll meet tomorrow right here at 6:30. Zoning Commission will meet May 22nd at 7 o'clock here at City Hall. And then our Economic and Community Development Advisory Group is going to meet again. They're going to have 2 meetings in May. May 30th at 6:30 p.m. right here at City Hall.
Okay, very good. Ms. Kinsler, I believe the early voting is at the Leon Valley Conference Center from, I thought I saw it 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. the entire week, Monday through Friday. So just those of you that haven't voted yet.
Thank you.
Early voting,
Thank you
yes.
for that addition. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Councilor Jordan.
Yes, ma'am. Can you go ahead and tell us how the taxes have increased with our sales tax?
So I don't have a definitive answer, but our assumption is that, especially if you're a regular person who drives down Bandera and goes, how are your sales tax increasing when Carl's Jr. and Dickies and what was the other one, the big one? Jack in the Box have shut down. So first of all, those are shutting down nationally. 6 or 7 of Jack in the Box and Carl's Jr. have already shut down around San Antonio. So that's not atypical that it would shut down on Bandera. But the reason we believe the sales taxes are continuing to trend upward is because of the weeding process that we are doing. And that is we're making certain that the businesses that exist are actually paying taxes here in Leon Valley. There are some of them that have been paying for a long time that have not been paying in Leon Valley. So we're working economic development from that end. We're working economic development to make sure, in fact, we're going to bring a proposal to you if it passes the Economic and Community Development Advisory Committee. We're going to be bringing a proposal to you in June. We've been working with the Small Business Development Department at UTSA. We're going to start, we want to start having breakfast, some of the breakfasts here in Leon Valley with about 150 to 200 businesses that attend. I can't remember, it's 150 to 250 or 200, right? And so we're going to bring a proposal that we do this at the conference center with these small businesses. But I think it's getting better quality small businesses in these strip centers. The strip centers right now are not willing to invest a lot of money or do a whole lot until we come up with the solution to Bandera Road. But through the weeding process, I just think it's proof. When you see a few of the big businesses close, one would think that your sales taxes might begin to dive or trend downward, and that's not what we're seeing. We're seeing the opposite, but it's because we're doing something different in economic development, which is the weeding process and the auditing process to make certain that people are licensed and certified and they're safe and that they're paying taxes at the right to the right place. And when they're not, then many times they leave and a new business will come in that is a legitimate business. And so that's the only thing we've been doing different, and we see the upward trend. So.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Any other questions for Ms. Kinsler on the city manager report?
Yeah.
Yes, Councilor Dr. Edwards.
You mentioned those of us who were walking around the last few weeks, and several citizens mentioned to me, I don't even know, it might be an urban myth, but I said, I'll check it out and I'll bring it up. One of the things that was said a couple of times was the belief that if you get a red light ticket, it can prevent you from registering your car. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people would say, well, that's just not right. And I said, well, you know, I heard it several times, so I just thought I'd ask, is that indeed the case?
And that is indeed not the case, Councilor Edwards, and thank you for asking that. A red light ticket or citation, if you will, is not considered a moving violation, and so it can't like take points off of your driver's license or anything like that. It's considered a civil penalty.
Yeah, I wondered about it, but people were so adamant. I thought, well, I'll ask.
Well, I appreciate that because what we want to do is we want to dispel the myths. We have a lot of support with red light cameras from our Leon Valley citizens, and we want to keep it that way, so we want to make sure we answer every question out there we can. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you.
Okay, very good. Yes, Councilor Martinez.
Similarly, one of the questions that I heard is if you get a ticket and you don't pay it, will it affect your credit report?
Mayor, Councilor Martinez, the answer is yes. It can affect your credit report, yes.
Okay, very good. All right. All right, very good. Thank you. Then we'll move then to agenda item number 8, announcements by the mayor and city council members. I just wanted to have a point of personal privilege. I had written down some thoughts about what I heard in the neighborhood that I'd like to share. If you'll please indulge me a few minutes. I wanted to say congratulations to Councilor Benny Martinez on his reelection and to Dr. Catherine Rodriguez on her election to the Leon Valley City Council. My appreciation to the citizens who reelected me to another term as your mayor. I'm deeply humbled by the outpouring of good wishes shown to me. For those of you who are dissatisfied with city government, I urge you to get involved and participate in your city government to change or improve what you feel needs changing. Thank you to the other candidates who ran for mayor and council place 2 and 4. Having opponents made us better candidates. Everyone in this room and all of our volunteers give their precious time to improve our community. My husband and I recently had the privilege of meeting with Maria Fernanda Garcia, an environmental engineer who works for the state of São Paulo, Brazil. She was visiting San Antonio as a guest of the San Antonio Council for International Visitors, sponsored by the State Department. We shared what our community is doing to become more sustainable, and she was astonished that the mayor and council and all volunteers in our community served in a volunteer position with no pay. She couldn't believe it. So this is special. We have a really special community. This election showed me that we have some discord in our community. There was significant questioning of several decisions made, coupled with misunderstanding and a lack of communication. How do we improve timely communication with our citizens and businesses? The city provides a weekly e-news to inform what is going on for the upcoming week in Leon Valley. Unfortunately, it's only a one-way communication tool, and can we make it two-way? We also have the bi-monthly Lions Roar. How many people actually read the communication? Should it be shorter? Should we change the format? Should we add calendar of events? Another avenue of communication is next door, the Facebook communication. How can the city use this medium as a positive dialogue vehicle? That's what I'd like to see, that it be positive. Another idea that my opponent came up with at the candidates forum was infomercials on our website. We might want to look at that. Taking a fresh look at many of the issues brought up at the door should be a priority going forward. Here's just a smattering of some of what I heard from our citizens, and in no particular order. Number one, Evers Road Bridge. This improvement was necessary because the bridge was structurally unsound. The reconstruction will help reduce the number of days the bridge will be closed due to flooding. 80% of the construction cost is funded by a federal grant. The garbage contract. Still having some problems with missed pickups due to driver error or lack of payment. People also complained that only 4 bags would be picked up at one time. But I can honestly say, as I turned in the complaints to the city manager on a weekly basis, Tiger responded every time. So slowly, I think people are accepting the change. Economic development. In citizens' perspective, economic development seems to have been stalled by the closure of the 2 shopping centers at Seneca and Bandera and the fast food restaurants along Bandera Road. Staff has provided the statistics that 284 new businesses have located in Leon Valley over the last 2 years. And I'm going to advocate for the FY19 budget that we use our Economic and Community Development Fund tax to hire a full-time economic development director. I think we need to focus in on filling up these businesses and working with TxDOT on a solution for Bandera Road. Next, Bandera Road. A task force comprised of Leon Valley, City of San Antonio, State Representative, and TxDOT officials have been formed to select a preferred option for improvement along the corridor. This will take the next 2 years, and there will be opportunities to hear from the residents and businesses along the corridor. But you know, I was thinking, what about immediate improvements to the current rush hour congestion? Do we need to put traffic police at the intersections during rush hour? City of San Antonio tells us the traffic lights have been synchronized. What other creative solutions are out there? I don't know, but I don't think we can wait 7 years for a complete solution. So what can we do in the short term? Speeding on Evers Road and in the neighborhoods. With the revenue from the red light cameras, 2 additional traffic police officers have been hired. Community policing has been established. But you know, the majority of the people didn't know it. And, you know, I was thinking maybe we could host a Meet Your Neighborhood police officer event, and so that we could go over the neighborhood watch pointers. Residents want, and they've asked me, Mayor, why don't they stop and talk to us and get out of their car and actually, you know, interact? And I thought, you know, I saw it firsthand last Thursday night at the HOA meeting at the fire department for Shadow Mist. And Ms. Kinsler, you had left, but Chad Mandry came in because the Shadow Mist police officer had moved on or resigned, I'm not sure, but he was no longer there. So he came in and just had a wonderful dialogue back and forth about, hey, what's going on? And do you see any graffiti? And what about the soccer field? And, you know, that was community policing at its best. And I know we can do it. And I just think we need to, again, get that communication out there. Dispatch. I heard complaints about non-emergency calls after hours when a resident is put on hold for a perceived long time. Staff is checking into this, but I want to assure our residents that the 911 emergency dispatch is working as it should be. There were many citizen questions I turned into staff, and I want to thank the staff for their diligence in getting answers. I love checking the pulse of our community. Our citizens in Leon Valley love the safety it provides, especially the response time for police, fire, and EMS. I heard that at every door, it seemed like. We must continually strive to listen, take the suggestions or criticisms to improve in a positive and not a negative manner. We have an open format at all of our council meetings, as well as our quarterly coffees and our annual town hall meeting. Let's come together in a spirit of goodwill and work together to continue making Leon Valley a model community in the Metroplex. So thank you for allowing me to share my thoughts with you. And again, I'm just really excited about the next year with the new council as we go forward. So thank you. Okay, so with that said, let me see if there's, I know, I kind of took a little out of character here. Okay, go ahead, Dr. Edwards.
Well, let me see if there's anything else.
Yeah, there was dust from the piles. I mean, there was a lot more than just what I summarized. There really feral cats. That was another big issue in the community. Mm-hmm. Whoa, yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that I learned walking around the city,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a good experience, and sometimes kind of a challenge even for a old psychologist to deal with some irate folks out there that have some urban myths that they
I was
want
going
to
to say
share.
one more thing that's new this year that I never saw before: those Ring doorbells. Oh my gosh, you ring them up, bing, and then somebody says, "Yes, who's there?" And I'm like, "Oh, is it God?" And it's on their cell phone. It's just amazing. So that was something new that I had never seen in the years that I have been mayor, walking door to door. So excuse me, I just
Sure.
wanted to throw that in.
I also ran into that. It's
Yeah.
kind of shocking the first couple of times because I hadn't been exposed to that kind of technology, but I got through it. And I just wanted to thank everybody who did vote,
Mhm.
although I would sure hope that it would be increased year by year so that we can get a great cross-section of our community coming out and expressing their views about what is good and what needs to be changed in our community. So, and again, I always say this, but thanks for coming out tonight. We have a great turnout, and appreciate your interest. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Alcacer.
Not much to echo, but my favorite thing, please stay positive, as the mayor emphasized. I've been talking about that for months. It makes a difference, just a smile and a hello and a positive comment instead of a negative, or make your negative comment positive, spoken positively, makes a huge difference. And thanks for being here.
Very good, thank you. Councilor Martinez.
Well, the mayor took most of my thunder away since, knocking on doors, we hear basically the same thing. But one thing that I noticed with the Ring doorbell, only one person actually answered me on the Ring doorbell. But another thing, one of the houses I went to, they had a little tiny door cut open in the middle of their door, really, really fancy door. So she just opened that door, and we talked to me, and I was able to hand her my literature through that door. So that, to me, was a very safe way for especially a woman by herself to answer the front door. But one thing I did notice, there's a lot of houses without street numbers on them. And I can see, when you're walking and you're looking at your paperwork and trying to figure out which street or number you're going to, a lot of houses here are separated by 4 numbers, but not always.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
there's a lot of houses that really should have street numbers put on them.
Very good, thank you. Councilor Jordan.
Yes, first of all, I'd like to congratulate everyone who won their election, re-election, as well as newly elected. I personally think the election results is a direct reflection of the things that the council's been able to do, and our awesome city staff that's been able to support us over the last few years. So I look forward to working with all the council people here in the near future, and hope we can work together to further enhance the business of the city. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Dr. Rodriguez.
I just wanted to let everybody know that I'm very grateful to have won this seat, and I will do my best to serve the community and serve the needs of the people that voted for me. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Then moving to agenda item number 9, consent agenda number 1, 2, and 3. May I have a motion to approve unless someone would like to pull one of those items for discussion?
I move that we approve items 1, 2, and 3.
All right, we have a motion by Councilor Alcacer and a second by Councilor Martinez to approve consent agenda item 9.1, 2, and 3. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Moving then to agenda item number 10, ordinance. These are our second readings, and agenda item number 10.1. Ms. Postleigh, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas City Council authorizing an amendment to the City of Leon Valley's Code of Ordinances, Appendix A, Article A 10.000, Emergency Medical Services Fees, providing for repealer, severability, and savings clauses, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. We did have the formal presentation at our last City Council meeting. Is Chief Valdez here? Do we have any update to this particular ordinance? Okay. Is there any questions by the council or anyone in our chamber this evening regarding this ordinance? Okay,
And I make a motion, we pass it as read.
thank you.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilor Martinez and a second by Dr. Edwards to approve ordinance number 10.1 as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Moving then to ordinance number 10.2. Ms. Pasley, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance authorizing an amendment to the City of Leon Valley's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 5, Fire Prevention and Protection, Article 5.04, creating Section 5.04.006, adopted International Wildland Urban Interface Code, and it's easier to say WUI. And Section 5.04.007 amendments, excuse me, by adopting the International Wildland Urban Interface Code 2018 edition with amendments providing for repealer, severability, and savings clauses, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you very much. We have our Deputy Fire Marshal, Eric Burdenside, here this evening. Do you have any update on this particular ordinance as presented?
I do, and good
Okay.
evening, Mayor. Good evening.
Good evening.
Council. So there are some updates.
Okay, great.
And I actually put them on the PowerPoint.
Thank you.
So as you guys
Appreciate that.
know, from last council
Mhm.
meeting, the purpose stayed the same. None of that was
Okay.
updated or changed. Same thing with the objectives, protecting lives and property and meeting best practices should definitely be emphasized, and also improving our ISO rating. So some of the follow-up I wanted to just emphasize with you guys and just make sure everybody was aware is that the U.S. Fire Administration, which all fire departments basically look to for guidance in certain situations, states that the International Wildland Urban Interface Code is a model code intended to supplement a jurisdiction's building and fire code. The objective of the code is to establish minimum regulations for the safeguarding of life and property from the intrusion of fire from wildland fire exposures and fire exposures from adjacent structures to prevent structure fires from spreading to wildland fuels, even in the absence of fire department involvement. So Chief Valdez emphasized that during the FireWise presentation, which is a huge part. FireWise and WUI work hand in hand. Other wildland urban interface standards tend to be a lot more limited. So NFPA, those are more standards, not codes. Same thing with the other group that I mentioned to you guys. They more emphasize standards. The International Wildland Urban Interface Code, it's an actual code that is used nationally by a lot of jurisdictions. And then emphasis should be placed on meeting best practices set by the Texas Fire Chiefs Association. That's one of our main goals. This is a housekeeping issue. We already complete and attain most of the tasks that we're doing today. We just want to be recognized and adopt a code that supports what we're currently doing.
Okay.
So I know a few of you guys had some questions about definitions. So wildland in the WUI is defined as an area in which development is essentially non-existent except for roads, railroads, power lines, and similar facilities. The wildland urban interface area is the geographical area where structures and other human development meets or intermingles with wildland or vegetative fuels. So there was no specific size reference or specific type of area. They're very vague, so it allows the code official, in this case, which would be Chief Valdez, to determine what's considered wildland and what's considered a wildland urban interface.
Okay.
Let me see. Well, that one looks a little new to me.
Yeah, it was the entry point.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I knew you guys were definitely interested on the entry point. So here was the original map, and then I ended up blowing them up just a little bit bigger. If I tried to make them a little bit more defined, we lose a lot of definition within the actual picture itself. So the entry points are currently existing. They are usually easements for utilities, public works, and the fire department, like he also described where we're cleaning the fire break right now. That's completely existing from natural easements, from just nature itself, or that the utilities have cut in and maintained so they can get in and out of these areas. And I didn't know if any of you guys had specific questions of where these entry points were.
It looks like they're almost all right in an area leading into the grasslands or the park area or the
Correct.
creek.
And most of them, of course, leading into them, they're all paved roads going into it. And of course, once you get into it, it's a natural cut area that's already being maintained, normally by somebody else.
And for those who weren't here before, when you're saying WUI,
WUI, yes.
What?
Wildland Urban Interface.
It's a
And so,
WUI.
WUI, yes. And it's just like Ms. Sandra stated, it's just an easier way to, instead of saying it all, just getting it quick and over with the acronym.
Or a fun way.
Yeah,
Yes, a fun way. And so all the amendments stayed the same, nothing changed with that. And like I described the last time, this is all the canned information that comes in the code, and it's a plug and play type of situation. And same thing with the C statement and strategic goals. Social equity, adopting the most current and highest standard fire code ensures safety for all citizens and visitors to the Leon Valley. Economic development, maintaining high standards in fire codes and safety ensures resiliency of the business community and environmental stewardship. Adoption of the new wildland urban interface code works to prevent fires, thereby reducing pollutants into the environment and protects trees. And the strategic goal, of course, is the resolution supports strategic goal number 2 to improve the safety and security of the city of Leon Valley through adoption and implementation of the most current available fire code.
Very good.
The Leon Valley Fire Department recommends the approval of the amending the City of Leon Valley Code of Ordinances by adopting the 2018 International Wildland Urban Interface Code with amendments as presented.
Excellent. All right. Any further discussion or questions? Yes, Councilor Martinez.
Would our natural area be considered a wildland urban?
That's going to be up to Fire Chief.
Yes, sir, it is.
Okay.
I move that we approve the WUI as updated.
Second.
You just like saying that word.
Yes.
All right. And do we have a second?
I said second, ma'am.
Sorry, thank you. I did not hear that. We have a motion by Councilor Alcacer and a second by Councilor Jordan to approve the WUI as amended. I like that. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Thank you so much for all of the work that went into this.
Sure, and
And
thank
again,
you.
it's just improving us as a whole community, like you say, to get the ISO up and
Definitely. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you,
excellent.
Council.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. All right, moving then to ordinance number 10.3, discussion and possible action on an ordinance accepting the Southwest Regional Advisory Council Trauma Grant Award and adjusting and increasing the general fund budget in the amount of $3,700. Oh, I did it again.
That's okay.
Oh, my gosh. See, I keep forgetting. Okay, all right. Those of you that don't know, we're a home rule city now. And how long have we been home rule? But I'm supposed to get Ms. Postlewaite to read the ordinances, and I'm so used to reading them myself. So,
And I was just listening.
I know. Thank you for your patience. Okay, y'all get to hear it again, though. So, excuse me, Ms. Postlewaite, if you'll please read the ordinance, and I even have.
Reads it much cuter than I do. She gets all
I have
animated.
second reading, Sandra, to read. I have it right here on my notes, and I forgot.
But
Okay.
I'm all business. She's all bubbly, so I'm sorry. An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley City Council authorizing acceptance of the Southwest Texas Regional Advisory Council STRAC grant award in the amount of $3,760 to purchase emergency medical supplies for the Leon Valley Fire Department Emergency Medical Service, authorizing a general fund budget adjustment increase in the amount of $3,760.00, providing for repeal or severability and savings clause, and providing for an effective date.
Very good, thank you. Assistant Fire Chief Blake Wade is here. Do you have any update on this grant?
Mayor, City Council, there are no changes.
Okay, very good.
Thank you.
So,
I move that we approve 10.3 as presented originally.
all right, we have a motion by Councilor Alcacer and a second by Dr. Edwards to approve ordinance number 10.3 as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Thank you. Moving then to the regular agenda. Now, I do get to read this one. Agenda item number 11.1, discuss and consider possible action on the election of Mayor Pro Tem. Ms. Postlewaite, or do you have a presentation? No. Okay. So, yes, Councilor Martinez.
I'd like to make a motion to have David Edwards be our Mayor Pro Tem for this year.
Okay. All right. Any further nominees or any further? Well, we need a second to that. Yes, we have a nomination of Dr. David Edwards for Mayor Pro Tem, and we need a second if this is going to go further. Yes.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yes,
Go right ahead.
Do you accept the nomination, Dr. Edwards?
Oh, yes, I will accept it.
Okay, I'd like to nominate Councilman Alcacer
Okay.
as Mayor Pro Tem.
Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm sorry.
Since there's no second there?
Okay, there's no second. We will move to the next nomination. We have a nomination from,
I'd like to nominate Councilman Monica Alcacer for Mayor Pro Tem.
all right. And do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, we have a second by Councilor Alcacer. We have a motion.
Can I
Yes,
make
we
a
sure can.
question? I didn't realize you could second yourself.
Oh,
I don't know of any rules that say you can't. I believe you can under Robert's Rules of Order.
I was not
If you
aware
can
of that.
nominate yourself, you can second.
Okay. All right, that's, all right, so we have a motion and a second for Councilor Alcacer to be Mayor Pro Tem. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Okay, we have 3 ayes and 2 nays. So Councilor Alcacer, you are Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you. All right. All right, moving then to agenda item number 11.2. These are our first readings according to the Robert's Rules, not Robert's Rules, Home Rule, excuse me. And so we will hear the presentation. this evening, and then we will have the second presentation at the next meeting, and we'll have a vote at that point. So 11.2, Ms. Postlew, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas City Council authorizing a budget adjustment in the amount of $15,000 to the fiscal year of 2017-2018 general fund budget to provide funding for the platting of city-owned properties along William Rancher, Aids, Samaritan, and Grass Hill roadways, dedicating 1.72 acres of land along Grass Hill Drive as parkland, providing for repeal or severability and savings clauses, and providing for an effective date.
All right, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening,
Ms.
Mayor,
Moritz, how are
Council.
you?
I'm great.
Glad
How are
you're
y'all?
here. Thank you.
And so the purpose is to consider recommending approval of an ordinance which will authorize a budget adjustment to plat properties that were purchased by the city, to provide a clear title and assure additional right-of-way designation, to eventually sell the property back to the open market and place back on the tax roll. And then also to consider dedicating 2 of the parcels as parkland to increase the size of the ridge at Leon Valley Park. In 2017, the city acquired approximately 23.3 acres of land along Aids, Samaritan, Grass Hill, and William Rancher roadways, and now wishes to sell approximately 21.6 of these acres. The properties have never been platted, and they were sold and resold by meets and bounds descriptions. While we were researching the deeds, a mistake was found in one of the meets and bounds, and that absolutely needs correction prior to any sale. The unplatted status of the properties does not provide for future right-of-way needs in that area as well. So platting is going to ensure that the property descriptions are correct, which will protect the city after the sale, and it will also ensure that all the properties have access to public right-of-way, create or vacate easements, dedicate land for other public uses such as parks or areas needed for flood protection, and ensure that all the properties have access to public utilities. The action's also going to show the developer the amount of right-of-way that's going to be needed so that they can calculate how much money they're going to have to pay to get that done. And as you can see, these properties are outlined in red are the ones that are proposed for sale.
Oh.
All right.
Could you point to the 2 that were going to be the...
They're in the next.
They're in the next one, that's right. I knew that. The parkland. Yeah, that's the one I wanted to.
It's the 2, you see where the white Grass Hill is?
Mm-hmm.
It's those 2 pieces right there. So these right here.
Those 2 right there. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So 2 of the parcels, P22 and P22A, which is about 1.72 acres, are directly adjacent to the ridge at Leon Valley Park. The existing land area at the park is very small, as a portion of it is a detention pond. So 1.54 is the detention pond, which is basically just an open play area. And then you have half an acre, a little more than half an acre, that's flat land. Adding these 2 parcels is going to allow for more amenities. You're going to gain an additional 1.72 acres to that park. This dedication will also allow for a better connection to the proposed Hetherington Trail. We've not developed that yet, but we're in the process. So if you look at the total new park acreage with the trail, the total comes to 6.7 acres, which is a nice size area for recreation for that area. You have all that huge, the Ridge subdivision, and then you also have the Seneca Estates Unit 3, and so that's a lot of people needing a lot of places to play. The park amenities would be added over time and could include amenities such as a longer walking trail, benches, a larger play area, and then whatever else, depending on what the area residents wish and what the council approves. And so this shows you the parkland right there. And here's the Ridge detention pond. And here's a little tiny piece that we had left over to do something with, which is, you can see, not very big. The Hetherington Trail connects right in here and goes on up, stops about here, turns around and comes back. Eventually, we can make this trail go all the way down and cross over into the Crystal Hills Park area.
Melinda, isn't there a trail behind the aquarium?
That's this part right here.
I'm sorry.
This is the stub out for William Rancher Road.
Well, it's
right
separate
there.
from Heatherton, isn't it? Hetherington? Isn't it
Hetherington
separate?
Trail is the part that's up by the aquarium detention
Oh, it
pond.
is. Okay, we just named it. Okay, gotcha. I thought it was different.
So the engineering for the platting is about $15,000. We went to the Economic and Community Development Committee and gain their support. So the funds would come from the 8% economic development funds that are contained within the general fund. And then park amenities would be budgeted as the years go by. And so the Economic and Community Development Committee heard the request at their May 2 meeting and have recommended approval of the funding source, but would like the funds returned after the successful sale of the property. And so staff recommends that the council approve the action and that the parcels P22 and P22A be dedicated as a part of the Ridge at Leon Valley Park. Anybody have any questions?
Yes,
Ma'am.
Councilor Alcacer.
You indicated that the meets and bounds needed to be straightened out before it could be sold, and yet we're doing platting. Will the platting correct the meets and bounds?
Yes, ma'am. We had a choice. You could either do meets and bounds or you could do the platting. Meets and bounds was going to be $30,000, and so we chose platting.
Half the price. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And what's the timeline on this?
It'll probably take about a month to get the plat prepared, and then that plat will have to come before City Council, and so we'll have to have 2 readings on it.
2 readings on that. Okay. And then the
And then it'll
property will
ready.
be ready to go. Okay, very good. That's what I was
Of
wondering.
course, I could start clearing out that one piece for the park sooner.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right, that's our first reading, so we will continue next meeting for that. Moving then to 11.3, regular agenda. Would you please read the ordinance, Ms. Pasley?
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas City Council authorizing a budget adjustment in the amount of $20,600 to fiscal year 2017-2018 general fund budget to provide funding for updating the internet cable infrastructure and technology at the library, providing for repeal or severability and savings clauses, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Good evening. Sandy Underwood, our librarian. How are you this evening?
Well.
Great. Thank you. So we got a little bit of a preview that this is in need of improvement at the library for our internet.
The library is tasked to be on the edge of technology, and that's really the future of libraries. So what we're doing tonight, the purpose, we'd like to request an approval of an ordinance authorizing a budget adjustment in the amount of $20,600. The purpose to the adjustment is to upgrade the internet cable infrastructure at the library and the technology to the current standards, and to add the addition of internet cabling to the children's wing, which was added in 2013. So the background on all of this, the current library building was built in 1992, so we're looking at roughly 26 years. At that time, it was the current internet cabling. The standard was Cat 5. The use of the internet, as we all know, has expanded incredibly since then. What they're now installing, the current state-of-the-art, is Cat 6. We are doing in the library incredible things. The number of computers and devices being used both inside and on the outside of the library on a daily basis is just surpassed the capacity of what we currently have. We have in the library 19 computers that are in use by staff and the public constantly. It seems we use 6 iPads, 6 Chromebooks, multiple printers, a 3D printer, as well as all of our patrons' personal devices that come in. We average 30 wireless devices logged into our system on a daily basis, and often for hours at a time. We see a lot of people who run in the library, grab those study rooms or tables in the back, and they're there all day. So we get a lot of usage. We have added desktop computers to accommodate the increased computer use. However, we don't have drops for them, so they are also connecting via Wi-Fi since there are no hard drops available. Customers are currently experiencing slow connectivity, random drops of service. We see our Wi-Fi drop quite often, unfortunately. Outdated cabling, mini patches. You can see our pictures here. To the far left, this is where it all begins, where the internet comes into the building. and how everything goes from there. And it's just beautiful. As you can see, it looks like some kind of a string game. There have been, over the years, many fixes, many additions, an additional 24 port, a lot of cabling, not always by people who really know what they're doing and what the best fix is. And we're now paying for it and seeing the slower and the breakdown of efficient internet use. Also, the children's wing, which was added in 2013, as well as that meeting room there that we use for programming and classes, there is no internet over there. Originally, the data ports were installed at the time of the construction. The ports are there. There is no wiring to them. It was never hooked up. The whole technology element was planned. There was a stop put to it and was to be a future addition and was to be included as a capital outlay in the future years. And that's when we had changes in staff. This has just been revealed to me recently because we were trying to figure out why we have no working data ports. So we're trying to stay on the edge of technology as we've been tasked and as the trend. And we're doing pretty darn good, I have to say, but we are experiencing some hiccups. So fiscal impact, funding to update the library internet cable infrastructure and the technology will come from the general fund reserve. This item was presented to our library board of trustees on their April 10th meeting, and they are in support of a budget adjustment to update. The Leon Valley Social, assuring the internet technology at the library is the most current. It will assist residents in many quality of life concerns, which we see daily: job searches, research, homework, online schooling, resume building. Economic impact, having reliable internet services at the library assures the ability for citizens and business who use our resources with ease, and it may assist in attracting new residents and businesses. Monthly repair and maintenance on our current system costs the city money, which will then be saved with this upgrade. Environmental, updating the internet cable infrastructure and technology will enable residents to use the Leon Valley Library for their everyday internet needs, reducing vehicular trips to other locations, which we are hearing and getting comments about. So to keep them close to home, shorter distances, less emissions, that would be a great environmental impact. So our recommendation is that the City Council approve an ordinance authorizing the budget adjustment of $20,600 for the updating of the library cable infrastructure and technology.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Yes. Yes, Councilor Alcacer.
Yes, ma'am. I have a question for, in the minutes that are in the same agenda, the amount was several thousand less. Was that because you didn't have the actual bid at the time you were discussing it in your?
It was a rough
estimate
right,
at that time?
We were getting the final bids. I think we were still dealing with, we have one company that hasn't detailed everything out to an nth degree. And so
okay.
We've gone back and forth with the companies probably 4 times.
All right.
And we've really gotten, we've seen a drop of about $6,000.
Okay.
Not with services, we don't see a service drop, but they're really competing because they want to do what they can and get the bid.
And you're happy with your choice?
Yes, actually we are. They're part of what we're looking at. We have currently Barcom with the city. If Barcom does it, the bids are about $300 a part is all. We have that seamless for $300, the seamless where we don't have a second company in. Having our guys having to come in and do additional charges and services to hook in to a second company.
Okay, thank you.
The little kids' computers?
Little kids' computers are not internet.
I
Those
figured
are purely
that.
educational.
Yeah.
That's why there's computers over there.
I didn't know. I mean, I was just putting on the headphones.
No, those are all educational. They're safe. Definitely safe.
will that impact, will you have other computers in the future that are connected to the internet over there, or probably not?
We have, I believe it's 10 public computers that are pure public. Anybody can get on. Children can get on with an adult with them. I don't think we'll add internet computers in the children's area. Our prime concern probably is to get internet over there because the parents are looking, they're watching their children, and they want to be able to be on their laptop or their phone and not drop.
Yes, Councilor Martinez.
I did go to the library Monday, and I've read the quotes and stuff, and I have some severe questions. One of the things I did notice is you have two 24-port switches hanging on the wall. Well, that equals 48 ports. The quote that I'm looking at here from Barcom, they're only going to put in one 48-port patch panel. So right there, you're obsolete. If I would have done this, I would have put at least another 24-port patch panel in there and allowed for some future growth. Another thing I noticed that out in the floor, there's a cluster of computers, and there's one cable from, I guess, the back room into a little switch.
Yes.
So that, I think there's, 5 or 6 computers tied to that switch.
Yeah.
So to do this properly, all those computers need to be home run back to the head end here. So I am not seeing this on any of these bids. Another thing that's a little bit concerning is the present internet speed on her computer is at 30 meg by 10. Just so you people know what I'm talking about, when anybody ever gives you an internet speed, I don't care if they tell you you're going to get 30 meg, a 50 meg, 100 meg, 300 meg, they're talking about your download speed. The second number is the most important number. That's your upload speed. And I think at a library, Sandy did mention that they have people playing games and they can be on their computers for hours playing games. Well, that uses up bandwidth. And one of the things that we need, really, we should have at least 100 by 100 synchronous instead of a 30 by 10. Because, sure, 30 meg down is probably adequate, but right now I have 100 at home. And that's very, very common nowadays. So I think this really needs to be looked at a little harder, and I'd like to see this tabled until we get more information.
Can I address a couple of those? Because I did run the speed test, because that was very low when you were there, and I ran it a couple more times, and I did get 51 by 11.72 later. And currently, we're supposed to be getting 100 by 15, I believe is what they told me. And then the companies that have come out and checked that, and the internet speed is not part of this package by any means. They have told me that because of the older cabling, because of all the patches we have, you can have this great speed, but we don't have the highway to it's not going to, until that's fixed, it's not going to peak.
They are right.
That's not, the internet is, that's a whole different thing. We can negotiate that to get that up, but that's not part of the package either.
They are partly right in Cat5 cabling was made to work at 10 megabits, which is 10 megabits is a lot faster than you guys can do any type of letter or do anything. But the new standards, Cat5e, and there's a lot of misnomers in this. And Cat6 is the latest cable out, and that's probably where most of the country is going on installs is to Cat6. But there's Cat5e cable that will support 300 meg, and there's some that'll do 500 meg. There's some Cat6 that's at 250, and there's Cat6 at 550. So there's a bunch of different variables in play here. If you get the expensive Cat5 or Cat 6, you're going to be up at gig speeds. Same with the switches. If you go with a good switch, you're going to be up. Your switches are the ones you have right now are 10100. They're old switches.
Right.
And the new switches will do the gig speeds. But, you know, one thing I can see just from here, that if we approve this, we're already bottlenecked because there's no future growth in this. We really should have two, at least a 48 port patch panel and a 24, and you know, additional switches to accommodate the future growth.
We can ask them to rebid that. And you had mentioned like the computers that are going, the bank of 4 that went into the, I don't even know what it's called.
By the front desk.
Right. And that, what they were talking about, like you were mentioning, you didn't see whatever it was to accommodate for those. There are 38 drops, I believe is what's mentioned in all of the things. 38 drops includes all of the computers and then some.
But your two switches that are hanging on the wall, they're 24 port switches, and something is plugged into every port.
Yes, and I
So,
can't
you know,
guarantee those are all active either,
well,
because we have some one-ended things hanging out there.
Well, that could be, but you know, you're limiting yourself right away with this proposal.
Mayor, Councilor Martinez, if I could just make a suggestion, Sandy was not aware that any of this was going to be, these were going to be issues. So what I would propose is that we come back with this one and we bring Barcom next time so that we have somebody that can speak your language and
We
help answer the
absolutely
questions.
can. I didn't want to bring a company because they recommended going with that, but we had, you know, no final decision's been made.
No, this is our
We
first
just wanna
reading,
get
so
it
that's the
so that-
opportunity that we have, is to
Sure.
get some updated
Yeah,
numbers.
that's
Absolutely.
fine.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
My second concern on here is that you have a proposal from another company that's lower. So, you know, if I can remember year and a half ago, when we were out for another bid, I believe on the for a detention pond, and one company was way low, and there were 3 companies about the same, and we had to take the lower bid. So if we follow that, why do we have to take the second highest bid?
Mayor, Councilor Martinez, you don't have to take the lowest bid. That's not correct. But the bid that the IBC, is that who they are? What's was it?
Yeah.
CDI, I can remember that. But they were like $300 or $400 less expensive than Barcom. And the reason that the library chose Barcom is because that's who we work with throughout the city. So they already know, you know, our systems and what we do. So for $300 or $400, I believe
Andy
that was
said, yeah.
right.
Mayor and Council, just to explain, Councilman Martinez, we don't have to do a competitive bidding process on the procurement of this because it's under 50,000 per the state statute. Correct.
Yes, Councilor Jordan.
Yes, ma'am. So you had a couple companies come in to look at the configuration of the library as you've spoken, correct?
We had a couple companies and probably in all 5 or 6 individuals involved in that, and multiple visits for each company, yes.
Okay, and you showed those multiple companies everything that was being involved in what you're requesting.
I'm sorry.
You showed everybody. You showed every company, all the companies, what your
Yes.
request would be in every area of the.
Hard to do apples to apples, and when bids came back and something wasn't clear, oh, this looks different. That's why we started all the call back and forth. Have you included this? We'd go through and kind of evaluate one. Just make sure everybody was apples to apples. We didn't want totally, you know, how can you judge if it's not?
Right.
But the second company wasn't even responsive the second time, were
Well,
they?
actually, we started out, we submitted for 4 bids.
Right.
It's quite a process. 2 companies never would respond or come out, or they just said X amount of dollars without even looking. They didn't want, it was clear they didn't want to come out. 2 companies did, and it was multiple visits, multiple people. And the one submitted very detailed itemized. Each drop is XYZ amount, so much per foot. The other one was just 11 points and here's the amount. I don't know how much was labor on each. I don't know how much they're charging per port. We've asked twice. Cannot get that info. So we've just been trying.
You can't
for
get that
months.
information from who?
From CDI. We have not. They said, yes, we'll get it, but, email and a phone call later, we're not getting it. So we wanted to try to move ahead. We know their amount overall, but we don't have still itemized on them. We can't get that.
Okay. All right, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Well, I would just add that, I guess this is your background or your business, and it would just behoove us just to look at it to see, because we do want a long-term solution.
Right.
And
that's our whole goal,
so,
was that
yeah,
they can get
exactly. And
internet
to get
that
another pair
works
of eyes on
smoothly.
it, I don't think would hurt.
So let me,
And,
if I can just make sure I understand then, because the whole internet speed thing, we can do that separately. That's not part of this bid at all. So I can address that separate. But the 48, like a 48 patch panel plus an additional 24. So we need a total of that many is what we want to look at.
If you want to have future
And you had
votes.
some switches too, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, there's switches
Now,
in here.
just for full disclosure, I'm in this business.
Yeah.
We could do this job for my company, but since I'm on city council, it would make messes. It would be a conflict of interest on me, but
But
I
you're
would be
just
willing
giving
to be as a
Good resource, yeah.
to go over these bids or come up with the requirements for future. We don't want to have something that's good for today. We want to have something that's going to be good for the next 5-10 years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's future-proof it.
Otherwise,
Thank you
we
for that.
come back year after year to update it.
Right.
Very good. I'm sorry, Councilor Jordan.
Just had some additional questions. Do you have any relationships with these companies that's bid so far?
No, I don't.
Okay. Have you worked with any? Do you know any of the projects that they've done in the past?
For full disclosure, Barcom did reach out to me about 2 years ago to help them work on a phone system down in Brownsville that they weren't capable of working on, and I went down there and worked on that for them. But since then, I haven't had any contact with Barcom.
That was before we had them as a contractor.
Yeah, that was way before they were a city contractor. But this is just full disclosure.
Okay. One final question, ma'am. So from what I'm understanding, if I'm understanding correctly, we need additional cabling to update to the futuristic speed. Is that correct? According to your opinion, professional opinion?
Yes. There's a couple ways you can do things. If you want to get, it's still within specs, but it's not recommended. Let's say right here, their data closet is on the other side of the building. If you wanted to, you could run one cable over to here and put a switch, which is like a splitter, and run all these workstations through it. But everybody now is going to be fighting for that one port on the switch, and it slows things down. The best way would be run individual cables back to a central point and distribute the signals from there.
So
That's the preferred way.
Did none of the companies that we spoke with mention any of that, or they did?
Yes. And that's why I'm wondering, the Barcom bid is like 9 pages. Should I have Councilor Martinez come review it? Because they are all individual drops too, is what they're proposing. We can, what's the best way to proceed? Do you want to come look at the things and then meet with Barcom and then bring Barcom to the next meeting as well? That way you can get your questions answered ahead of time or kind of make sure those points are addressed.
Wouldn't it be smarter if in the next week or so we get together and review this? Review your needs first.
Sure.
Then compare it with this and come up with a recommended scope of work of what's needed.
Right.
And detail and then go back to
To
these
the
companies
companies,
and say,
sure.
hey,
But you can't.
here's, we've made some changes.
Yeah, I agree.
How would you like to respond to them?
That's great. That's fine.
And maybe none will be needed depending on the needs of what the library is versus what you may think we need and maybe we don't need. We're not there to provide a service without limitation to everybody who walks in the door. Our service is to the community, and we don't want people in there. The more you have access to the internet, unlimited, the more likely you are to misuse it. And I don't think we need the teenagers or the children or things like that to have internet capability that they might not have anywhere else, and that we're that our community is liable for it. So we don't need top of the line. We just need good quality for what's needed in our community.
There's one thing, Councilor Alcazar. We do provide internet out on the patio, so when the library is closed, people can go on the patio and access free internet.
We do
I
have,
understand that.
internet's
That's different.
available 24 hours a day
Yeah.
on the patio, on the Wi-Fi, and that we get huge comments. We haven't had issues with, and we have landing pages that you have to, you see, and you get the, yes, I will abide, before you can get in. But job searches, we get a lot of comments. Thank you for having that, because I do school and I work and I have a family and I can only get over here after my husband's home, and it's 9 o'clock by that time. So they sit on the patio.
Yeah, well,
and
I
use-
understand that. That's not the
So-
issue. The issue is overdoing when it's not necessary. I also have a husband who can do as much or more than anybody in this field, and I'll be happy to have him volunteer him to go over and look at it, because he's extremely qualified to do it.
Maybe a committee of interested people take a look at it, so there's not any issues with one person.
Okay.
I was just going to suggest that Sandy is the librarian, and she has consulted with her board, who are very familiar with the needs of the library and the board. And then she's consulted with the IT company who services the city right now. So do
And
we?
a second company.
And a second company. Do we really need a committee? You already have a whole board in support of it, and they're there. They know what's going on at the library.
No, that's what I said. I think it should be what the library, who is familiar more than anybody else, what our needs are from there, not just something that we feel that, maybe I wasn't communicating earlier, not what we feel they need personally or because it's our field, but what you need. And that's what I would like to have the primary focus.
And we have gone back, like I said, we've talked to the companies multiple times, because is this necessary? Why is the server software, $2,000 through TechSoup, which caters to libraries and nonprofits? I can get it for $400, and it's really kind of pushing them on a few things. So we have done pretty well at getting pricing down, but we're basing it on basically 5 or 6 professionals talking, same comments coming, not all there at the same time, and we keep hearing the same things over and over, and these are my recommendations, so that's why,
But
what those are coming with.
the issue of long-term, what I'm saying,
Yes,
addressed?
we don't want to get to
Yeah,
today and
exactly,
stop,
exactly.
absolutely.
So
And
I
that's
thought that
where
was
they
the
can
issue.
answer a little bit more
Yeah,
about the 48
Right,
patch and all that.
right. So just get that
I
additional
don't have
information.
enough info on, but yes,
Yeah,
we
sure.
definitely talked about
Okay.
future and not
Thank
stalling
you.
with
I
today.
appreciate that. Yes, sir.
I have an idea. What if in the next week or so we get together, or before the next city council meeting, and go over this, and if we find discrepancies or changes, then we postpone the second reading and come back and regroup. If we don't find anything, let's have the second reading at the next council meeting and go forward.
Yeah, I would really welcome you to come look at the proposals in detail, because it may answer some questions you have. So they are quite detailed.
Oh, I've got the quotes here.
Okay. All right.
You have the
And the proposals.
Proposals.
I got the quotes.
Proposals, yeah.
Because I have like a 9-page from Barcom, which really details it out.
That's
So
this
They
one here.
have that.
right, okay.
Okay. All right. So we still have another 3 weeks before, so it sounds like plenty of time to get
Okay.
more research completed and then
Absolutely.
come back and update the council at that time. Okay.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Any other questions before we move on? Okay. Thank you so much, Sandy. Really appreciate it. That's a Greek language to me. Yeah. Okay. Agenda item number 11.4. Ms. Postley, if you'll please read the ordinance.
An ordinance authorizing an amendment to the City of Leon Valley's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 5, Fire Prevention and Protection, Article 5.02, adding Section 5.02.011, authority to establish fire prevention programs and activities, providing for repeal or severability and savings clauses, and providing for an effective date.
All right. Thank you. Welcome back.
Yes, Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. This is about kind of some housekeeping, kind of straighten some things out. Leon Valley Fire Department has an excellent fire prevention program already. We have we're winners of the Lone Star Achievement Award, which is the best fire prevention program in Texas from the Texas Fire Marshals, Texas Fire Chiefs Association in 2014. Of course, our cooking fire prevention program with our aprons, and so much more. As a matter of fact, we have we recently won a grant for an inflatable safety house, which will teach children how to evacuate from their house in the event of a fire. It's portable. We'll be able to deploy it pretty much anywhere and really step our game up, so to speak. This is a passion of mine, is obviously with fire prevention. If we're not out there doing all we can to prevent fires, that is active firefighting. And so what we're asking for here tonight is to make it more formal. As we're working to improve the fire department, we have a punch list of items in the ISO, in the Texas Fire Chiefs Association, and the meeting the best standards in the Texas Fire Marshals Association, and we're just knocking those down one by one to be better. And this is one of those items. In researching, it says, the Texas Fire Marshals Association, for the excellence standard, says you have to provide some sort of statement that gives you the authority to establish a fire prevention program. And when I researched what our ordinances state, there's nothing that says we have that authority. It's something we already do. It's something we're going to do anyway. That's just who we are.
You just want to formalize it.
So all we're asking for tonight is to formalize it. And this is about housekeeping. This is about us meeting best practices and striving for excellence in the fire department. So the ordinance would read, the fire marshal and fire chief shall have the authority at all times of day or night, when necessary, in the performance of the duties imposed upon him by the provisions of this article, to create and establish fire prevention and education activities and programs necessary and intended to reduce fires and prevent injury or death.
Okay.
So we monitor the fires and any type of incidents we have in our community, and we tailor our program specific to the needs of our community, and that's what this would allow us to do. This is again just maintaining excellence in fire prevention, ensuring the safety for all our citizens and visitors. It's maintaining the highest standards in fire prevention and ensuring the resiliency of the business community, and the activities work to prevent fires, thereby reducing pollutants into the environment. This does meet strategic goal number 2, to improve the safety and security of the City of Leon Valley through formal recognition of the fire department's authority to establish fire prevention education programs. And we are recommending approval of the ordinance as written. That concludes my presentation. I stand for questions.
Okay, very good. Well, I think it was pretty straightforward, Chief, and
Yes,
so
ma'am.
we will be able to vote on it at the next meeting.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Any other questions? All right, appreciate your help. Thank you. Moving then to agenda item number 12, citizens to be heard. We have citizens that are still here. Have any comments, questions? All right. Seeing none, then if there's no objection, we move to adjourn at approximately 8:33 p.m. on Tuesday, May 15th, 2018, and we'll see you at the next City Council meeting, which is Tuesday, June the 5th. Y'all have a great evening. Thank y'all for coming.